LGBTQ instruction, students and staff, but these new policies didn't come without controversy. WCTV.
Just ahead, the Olmsted County Fair starts today. We're getting a preview of all the fun. Plus, we're getting an up-close and personal look at our first line of defense in Alaska. And parts of our area is in severe drought, the latest on the farmers' impact. Your news at noon starts now.
Live from your local news leader, this is KTTC News.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Megan Zempel in for Jess Abrahamson. First at noon, a motorcyclist was taken to the hospital after a crash in Olmsted County. It happened around 3:45 Friday afternoon at the intersection of 18th Avenue and 40th Street Southwest, just south of Rochester. Deputies say a 70-year-old man was riding his motorcycle when a van pulled out in front of him. He was taken to the hospital with serious injuries to his head, arms, and legs. We're told the rider was not wearing a helmet. The driver of the van was cited for failure to yield. And there was a serious accident involving a moped Saturday evening. A 37-year-old woman from Rochester was driving a Honda moped without a helmet around 6 p.m. RPD says she was going south on 8th Avenue Southeast at the intersection of 12th Street Southeast. The stoplights were flashing red at the intersection and she yielded, but a 26-year-old woman from Austin in a Ford Fusion going eastbound did not stop and struck the moped. The woman on the moped was taken to St. Mary's with potentially serious injuries. The Austin woman was given a ticket for failing to stop at that red light. A tough final goodbye for a fallen hero. This weekend, many came to pay their respects as Fargo officer Jake Wallin was escorted from North Dakota to his funeral service in the small northern Minnesota town of Pequot Lakes. Matt Henson reports.
Officer Jake Wallin chose this life, not because he desired to make a name for himself, but because of a compelling call to selfless service.
After serving with the Minnesota National Guard, including several tours to the Middle East, Jake Wallin tried a number of other careers, but in the end came back to his passion of law enforcement. Police Chief David Zabolski highlighted some of his notes from the day Jake Wallin interviewed for a job with FPD on November 28th of last year. He noted he was looking snappy that day.
A job with meaning and purpose behind it. Being an example and making a difference somehow.
Officer Wallin was in the final weeks of training when he was fatally shot last Friday, just 2 minutes after arriving to help investigate an accident. Today, Chief Zabolski said at the funeral that in the past 24 hours, new body cam shows he was not the first one shot like originally thought. Officer Wallin's final act of valor saved the lives of the 3 other officers who were with him.
Pulled his gun out and was taking aim at the suspect when he was fatally struck.
While the Fargo community has come to know Jake Wallin as Officer Wallin, his family talked about Jake underneath the police and National Guard uniform.
But to each of us who knew him, he was just Jake.
Over and over, we have heard stories of how Jake Wallin was a driven, ambitious young man in uniform, his aunt providing a picture of the little boy he once was, Grandpa's fishing buddy, who had one heck of a cannonball into the lake.
With his little arms wrapped so tightly around my neck, burying his face into me to try to avoid the fireworks that he hated so much at that age.
Looking forward to a career with Fargo PD, Wallin bought this home for him and his fiancée in Hendrum just a month ago.
He was so proud of becoming a new homeowner that he ran right out and bought himself a lawnmower and mowed his new lawn.
Jake Wallin's parents accepted in their son's honor a Purple Heart and Medal of Honor from the police department, and the Minnesota National Guard honored his service with the Distinguished Service Medal. After the 45-minute service, hundreds of Officer Wallin's brothers and sisters in blue gathered outside for the formal honors of Fargo's fallen hero. And promise they will carry on the legacy of Badge 762.
End of watch, July 14th, 2023. Jake We love you. We'll miss you. You'll always be remembered. Thank you for your service. Rest easy. We've got it from here.
Well, we're headed into a pretty hot week, and if that heat wasn't enough, it's a new low for the dry summer that's continued in southeast Minnesota and northeast Iowa. According to the United States Drought Monitor, most of Olmsted County is now considered to be in severe drought. We spoke with some farmers in a field right on the Olmsted-Fillmore County line, an area that's also considered to be in severe drought. They showed us how many corn and soybean crops had not matured to where they should be this season, and that many plants are also showing deficiencies in important nutrients such as nitrogen and potassium. Though some rain helped, farmers say no amount is going to help with the yields at this point.
The crop is just short, and it's has not been able to pick up the nutrients it needs from the roots because of the dry ground. So as far as yield, we're probably looking at 50% of normal yields.
And another thing that could severely impact the crops is heat. Farmers say if it hadn't rained this past weekend, the hot weather could have hurt the crops even more. Well, speaking of weather, we're going to get a check on it. Meteorologist Ted Schmidt joins us from the weather patio. Hi, Ted. We really need some rain.
Yeah, we did really well Saturday. We, of course, need a lot more. We have some more chances headed our way. Pretty small ones at first, then maybe something a little down the road that may yield a little more measurable precipitation. But the big story really is going to be the sun and the heat this week, though. We're kind of still going in the wrong direction. We would like rain, but it's going to be more sun and heat than rain. And the situation right now, blue sky, a little haze outside. Right now, some of that product of some wildfire smoke in Canada. We're still in the moderate range for air quality index, so not an air quality alert situation now. Likely, I think we're going to stay out of that range, but still looking at least some haze. That's our Lewiston Auto camera. It's 82 right now at the studio. The wind is very light, 2.64, and the air pressure is steady. Temperatures mostly in the low 80s. Rochester 81. Mason City 82 and Owatonna 82, and future track radar looking very quiet. There may be a couple of spotty thunderstorms developing this evening, impacting just a small portion of the area, but again, we're going to have to be patient waiting for better rain chances this week. Allergy report moderate for grasses, trees, and high for dust. Also moderate for mold, and the UV index level 8 in the scale of 1 to 10. So pretty high up there, and that's where we've been for most of the last week, and we may even be in the 9 range here for the rest of this week. Weather Almanac, 81, the high so far. That's the current reading. 80 is the seasonal average. We're going to blow right past that, and looking for highs today around 87. A lot of sunshine and a very light breeze, very warm day, and this is probably one of the coolest days we're actually going to have this week, Megan. Talking about some intense heat and even more humidity. Headed our way, we'll have more details in a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Ted. We look forward to it. And happening today, a traffic alert for your commute. Road work will begin on Highway 14 near Apache Mall in Rochester. MnDOT will be making concrete repairs in the area. Drivers going east on Highway 14 to make a left turn north onto Highway 52 will see a shortened turn lane. This started at 8 this morning. Crews do plan to be finished up on this project by Thursday afternoon. And let the fun begin. Today is the official start of the Olmsted County Fair. It's been going on for 163 years to celebrate our community, gather for food and entertainment, and exhibit livestock, farm crops, and handiwork. There are several grandstand performances this year, including country singer Jana Kramer and country rap and soul singer Breland. The carnival begins tomorrow. Family night is on Thursday. The Great Frontier Bull Riding Show is on Friday, and there is much more to check out. It all wraps up on Sunday. And meanwhile, the temporary seats at the fairgrounds grandstand have been installed. Earlier this year, the fair discontinued using it because it was structurally falling apart. A fair board member says the fairgrounds have been around for a long time and the grandstand was getting older. The temporary seating will keep grandstand events going. However, there is no update as to when the grandstand will permanently be fixed.
We had to adjust a few things. I think it's definitely impacted some of what would have been able to do ticket sales wise. Having the acts that we had already booked, not being able to announce as soon as we wanted to because we weren't sure if we were going to have a grandstand.
And those grandstand events begin tomorrow and run through Sunday. Well, if you've ever wanted to learn how to salsa dance, there are opportunities provided by the Rochester Salsa community every Sunday in Central Park. Salsa Rueda is a style of salsa that originated in Cuba. It involves couples dancing around in a big circle. People of all different ages and abilities are invited to come together and learn some moves while enjoying the outdoors. The instructor begins with simple foundation steps and then adds more difficult ones as the session goes on. No registration or payment is required to attend, and dancers can come and go as they need to. It runs every Sunday through the end of October in Central Park from 2 until 2:45. Well, still ahead, new details just came out this morning about a U.S. soldier detained in North Korea. The U.S. has finally made some contact. Where they go from here next.
At Corner Home Medical, providing the best medical.
Now to overseas, where the deputy commander of the UN command in South Korea said today it has started conversations with the North over Private Travis King, the U.S. Army soldier who ran into the North on July 18th across Korea's heavily armed border. NBC's Matt Bradley has the details from Seoul, South Korea.
We just heard from a top United Nations general that they're starting a dialogue with the North Koreans about the status of Private Travis King. Now, this is something of a breakthrough because it's the first signal that anyone has been able to reach the North Koreans ever since Private King bolted across the border nearly a week ago. We haven't heard from Private King himself, and top American officials have even said that they can't even reach the North Koreans. Now, all of this comes at a uniquely difficult time for American relations with North Korea. Just in the past couple of days, the U.S. Navy parked a nuclear-powered submarine here in South Korea, and it came a couple of days after the U.S. enraged the North Koreans by docking a nuclear-armed submarine here. And in reaction, the North Koreans twice fired missiles into the ocean over the past week. Now, the North Korea experts that I've been speaking to say that the North Koreans are probably going to hold on to Private King and exploit him for their own propaganda purposes. Now, there's all sorts of difficult questions around this. We don't know the fate of Private King, but that UN general just today said that he remains optimistic.
And you'll want to be right here tonight when Lester Holt brings you a special edition of NBC Nightly News live from Alaska. Lester explores why Alaska is so vital in protecting our homeland. He goes aboard a military refueling mission for a U.S. fighter jet and takes you to an early radar site watching for potential threats from the sky. And Lester learns how the landscape of Alaska is changing, providing even more security concerns.
The Arctic is going to get very interesting. It's changing. As the sea ice changes and gets smaller in the Arctic, it's exposing areas where there is now exploration for oil and other minerals that weren't there before. It's also opening up sea routes that weren't there before and making it very lucrative for nations to look for routes between Asia and Europe, and certainly catching the attention of Russia and China and others around the world.
Lester's exclusive reporting and his childhood memories of growing up on a military base in Alaska tonight, only on Nightly News. Your midday markets are right after a quick check with Ted.
Warm and sunny today, talking about some heat, humidity this week, and just a few thunderstorm chances. The latest in your 7-day forecast is coming up after our midday market report.
Miss part of our newscast? KTTC has.
Here's your first alert weather with meteorologist Ted Schmidt.
Well, it looks like we're headed into a pretty hot and steamy week, right, Ted?
It's big mass of warm, humid air. Going to be building northward over the next few days, gradually building. Today, upper 80s, and tomorrow we're flirting with the 90s, and I think at least 2 days this week, Megan, we're talking highs in the 90s. We've not done that officially this year, so I guess we're due for one of those. We average about 11 times a year to reach 90 degrees. Some years we don't do it at all. Some years we do it a lot, and this year it's been pretty quiet in that regard. We could use some rain. Instead we're getting heat. That's what we're looking at here. We have some fog in the area, a little bit hazy. You see some of that in the distance. Watch the sun rising through the layer of haze. Some of it from wildfire smoke out of Canada. Most of it on the Wisconsin side of the Mississippi, and there is an air quality alert for that portion of the region. Not Minnesota, though, but that's where the bulk of the smoke is right now. It's the thickest smoke. That's time-lapse from Lake Pepin with our Lewiston auto camera. Kind of a pretty morning happening there. A lot of haze around, but blue sky. We're still in the moderate range for air quality, and the index here in Rochester, not the problematic range, at least at this point. Just have some blue sky, some haze, and to the east, there's air quality alert until noon tomorrow for most of Wisconsin. Locally, we're looking at blue skies right now with that haze hanging around. A lot of warm sunshine along an approaching front. There is a chance for more thunderstorms developing this evening. Some of those will develop and migrate into the area perhaps this evening. That's the next rain chance. Until then, it's hot sunshine. 81 in Rochester, 86 in Minneapolis, 87 in Sioux Falls right now. And Waterloo in the mid-80s at this point. Temperatures on the way to the upper 80s today. 81 right down the mid-city officially. 83 in La Crosse and 82 in Charles City. Right now the dew point 66. It feels like 83 when you factor in that humidity with the heat. Not terribly hot so far, but it's going to get there. And we'll have the heat index later today right around 90, and beyond that pretty much well into the 90s for the remainder of the week. Hot and humid for the mid part of the week, especially through Thursday. That's going to be the hottest day of the week. Most likely it will end up being the hottest day of the entire year. Straight thunderstorm chances, a few of those today, a few more tomorrow, and even more later this week. There are some things to talk about aside from the heat and the haze itself. But looking at a pretty quiet day moving forward until some thunderstorms develop. Close to maybe 7:45, 8 o'clock this evening. A lot of those just grazing the area. Rochester to the north and east is an area of energy that's moving through Wisconsin. We'll get a glancing blow on the southern periphery of that just for a few hours until about the midnight hour. Then tomorrow, warm sunshine, hint of a south breeze, a few high clouds in the afternoon. And then once again, chance of late day, more than likely really evening showers, a few thunderstorms, and more of a widespread chance tomorrow. Not heavy rain, but there'll be a chance of rain for a few hours tomorrow evening until the wee hours of Wednesday morning. And then we dry out until the tail end of the week. Sparse rain chances, though, today after about 7:30 or 8 until about 1 in the morning. And level 1 risk from the Storm Prediction Center for severe weather, looking at maybe some hail from Rochester to the north and maybe some gusty winds. That'll happen again after about 8 o'clock until the midnight hour. And rain chances moving forward this evening, tomorrow evening, and off and on during the day Friday. That'll be the best chance of rain overall. Maybe a couple of rounds of thunderstorm activity. The weekend looks pretty quiet, though. So evening storms today, but until then, mostly sunny. 87 in Rochester, 88 in Austin, 86 in Mason City. Just getting primed for the heat because it gets a lot much warmer than this. Thursday, head and shoulders above the rest. That'll be the hot one. Heat index levels around 100. Dew points approaching 70. And then temperatures over the weekend a little more seasonable. Back to the mid-80s we go. Mostly sunny. Stray shower or a thunderstorm this evening. 87 with that light south breeze. After some storms, we'll clear things off after midnight. Low of 63 tonight. And tomorrow, a lot of sunshine. Then in the evening, a chance for some scattered thunderstorms. 89 the expected high temperatures, though. And then it gets really hot, drier for Wednesday and Thursday. Then a couple of thunderstorms with a cold front, Megan. That eventually will give us a break from the intense heat. Still warm over the weekend, but nothing we can't handle. We're talking mid-80s in that time frame. And surrounding the weekend, some rain chances Friday and Monday, and hopefully it'll make good on at least some of those. And hopefully everybody gets something out of this because we really do need the rain.
Yeah, we really do. It's becoming a pretty dire situation right
yeah.
now, and with this extreme heat, remember to just be smart and stay cool, drink your water, and try to find some cooling shelter if possible.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Ted.
You bet.
Well, still ahead, a historic drive-in movie theater in South Dakota continues to draw people from all over the country. We're taking you back in time next. Welcome back. In the late 1950s, there were as many as 4,000 drive-in movie theaters operating across the country. Today, there are fewer than 350. One of them in Mobridge, South Dakota, has been open since 1960. And more than 60 years later, it's still the place to be every weekend from Memorial Day to Labor Day. Jody Kurzman has the story.
Hi.
You could say Gretchen Olsen.
Thank you. Enjoy the movie.
Is the face
Enjoy the movie.
of the Pheasant Drive-In.
Hi.
She is the first person
How many do you have?
people see when
Hi.
they come to a movie here.
They're like all excited. Enjoy the movie, guys.
Her younger sister Heidi calls herself the Pop Girl.
Yep. I do pops and slushies. That's my job.
Their parents, Jill and John, bought the theater in 2019.
How are you guys tonight?
The Pheasant Drive-In attracts movie lovers from Mobridge and beyond.
We get people, that are at the campgrounds camping, so they might be from out of state. We do get some Bismarck families who come down, Linton, Gettysburg. People come from all over.
Hi.
A trip here is a trip back in time. In the concession stand, the Olsons serve homemade barbecues made from a secret recipe that's as old as the drive-in.
You have to buy the theater in order to get the recipe. These are the original speakers.
Those speakers,
The wires still work.
date back to 1960, when the theater first opened.
You can adjust the sound.
While the speakers are not new, the movies on the screen are.
We're a first-run theater.
That means the movies are new releases. On this night, The Flash is on the big screen. But an evening at the Pheasant is about more than just seeing a movie. It's about spending time together and enjoying the warm summer nights.
We can play around over here and we can watch the movie in the car or outside. I can watch the movie outside. I can enjoy nature while watching the movie.
When the movie's running and, kids are running around and families are laughing and enjoying themselves, I would say that's my favorite part.
A nostalgic experience, creating yet another sweet summer memory. In Mobridge, South Dakota, I'm Jody Kurzman, reporting.
The original Pheasant Drive-In opened in the 1950s by the Missouri River, but then the dam in the area was built and the drive-in was moved to its current location. And speaking of movies, it was a huge weekend at the movie theaters across the country. Greta Gerwig's Barbie and Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer brought moviegoers to the theaters in record numbers. Warner Brothers' Barbie claimed the top spot with $150 million in ticket sales from North American theaters from over 4,200 locations. Many showed up in their best Barbie fashions to mark the occasion, and Oppenheimer also scored big, making $80.5 million from more than 3,600 theaters in the U.S. and Canada, which marks Nolan's biggest non-Batman debut and one of the best ever starts for an R-rated biographical drama. Both movies scored well with critics, with 90% for Barbie and 94% for Oppenheimer on Rotten Tomatoes. Here's Howard with what's next in the kitchen.
Today's the day I share a real guilty pleasure with you. You're gonna love it. It's so good, there's only crumbs left.
Is your credit score getting in the way?
Today, we're going all out with a recipe that's perfect with everything from spaghetti to veggie packed salads. It's a souped up garlic bread that has not one or two, but 3 cheeses in it. In fact, it's one of my new guilty pleasures. And let me show you how easy it is. The first thing we do is cut a loaf of Italian bread in half lengthwise and set it aside. Now, we saute some coarsely chopped garlic in butter over low heat until it begins to brown. You want to keep the heat low so the garlic softens and doesn't burn. Next, we combine some super creamy mascarpone cheese with a bit of milk, shredded mozzarella, Parmesan, a little salt, and our sauteed garlic. We'll give this a mix, spread this onto our bread, sprinkle it with chopped parsley, and bake it off. In about 10 minutes, when the whole house smells like a pizzeria, it's ready to cut and serve. Just one bite is all it'll take to make you understand what makes this my new dinnertime guilty pleasure. To get the recipe for our 3-cheese garlic bread, all you need to do is check out our website. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Where today we found a triple cheesy way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
So Ted, I have a special garlic bread recipe, but I don't know. That one looks a little bit better than mine, I think. I may have to try that one out.
It looks really good, yeah. It's not something you think a lot of in the summer, garlic bread, but I think it goes just about any season, though. I would say, but weather today getting a little on the toasty side, and really has spiced things up this week as we start talking about 90s in the area. We've not officially reached 90 this year in Rochester. We've come very close, at least 3 times. But it has not officially happened. I think it may happen, if not tomorrow, certainly Wednesday. But here's the current scene from our Lewis Didaldo camera from along Broadway, looking toward the Plummer Building in downtown Rochester. It's 84, feels like 86, the dew point 66, and the wind is hardly moving at all, 2 miles per hour. It is warm and a little stuffy out here. At the airport in Rochester, it's 81 this hour. On our way to about 87 for an afternoon high temperature, 82 in Winona, 82 in Mason City, and low 80s in Albert Lea as well. Sunshine dominates. Nothing happening in the region. There were some isolated thunderstorms very early this morning in parts of the region. They've all kind of fizzled out. We may see some redevelopment, though, in some of that may impact the area by this evening. Day planner looking at the possibility of a stray thunderstorm or two by the late evening hours. Look for a high temperature in the meantime around 87 with a lot of sunshine and just a hint of a south breeze. Ted's Trivia, what is the national animal of Canada? It's one of these 4 options below. Megan, you'll have the distinction of being able to answer that question in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Ted. I'm not sure. I'm just going to have to take a wild guess.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, still ahead, summer is in full swing, and that means ticks are also rearing their ugly heads. Why experts say there are so many of them, and how to keep yourself safe.
I'm not bluffing. You're gonna want to try.
Welcome back. Outdoor activities are more common in the summer, but so is tick exposure. And there are now more ticks than ever before, and that could partially be due to climate change. But experts say it has more to do with white-tailed deer becoming more common in densely populated areas. Some species of ticks carry diseases that can be debilitating or even life-threatening, including Lyme's disease. A tick bite can also cause you to become allergic to red meat. Prevention is the best approach. Experts say when you are at risk of exposure in the great outdoors, cover your skin and tuck the bottoms of your pants into your socks. You can also use certain insect repellents, including those that contain DEET. And if you get bitten, remove it by its head with tweezers and kill it with hand sanitizer or alcohol so you can have an expert identify that specific type. Increasing issues with Russia and Ukraine regarding the Black Sea grain deal. Now Russia is attacking Ukraine's grain storage. Our Ag Day Minute explains.
I'm Clinton Griffiths with today's Ag Day Minute. Russia appears to be stepping up its attacks on Ukrainian grain infrastructure after pulling out of the Black Sea grain deal. Russian cruise missiles destroying farm storage buildings in the Odessa region again on Friday. Now it's reported direct hits on grain terminals destroyed 100 tons of peas and 20 tons of barley. Russia targeted Ukraine's critical grain export infrastructure after vowing to retaliate for an attack that damaged a crucial bridge between Russia and the Moscow-annexed Crimean Peninsula. Both Russia and Ukraine have announced that they will treat ships traveling to each other's Black Sea ports as potential military targets. McDonald's is coming out with a new McFlurry, the burger chain introducing the Peanut Butter Crunch McFlurry. Now it's made with vanilla soft serve, pieces of chocolate peanut butter, cookies, and a crispy cereal mix. And British police are putting a man they call the Easter Bunny behind bars. A British court sentencing a man whose real name is Joby Poole to 18 months in prison. Now he's accused of stealing 200,000 Cadbury cream eggs worth about $40,000. They say Poole used a stolen tractor to tow a trailer full of the chocolate eggs from an industrial site in February, but he didn't get far. He was pulled over and arrested during the getaway. For more Ag News, watch Ag Day weekdays on the station or anytime at agweb.com.
Here's your first alert weather with meteorologist Ted Schmidt.
Hope you're ready for some heat because it is building across the area. Temperatures climbing today, and they're going to continue to climb each day moving forward over the next at least 3 or 4 days as the heat builds in. And we're looking at some of the hottest temperatures of the season happening this week. Hazy sunshine. We are looking live with our Louis Donato camera from northwest Rochester right now. It's sun-filled, hazy midday. Temperatures right now cruising through the 80s right now, on their way to eventually maybe something close to 90 as we work our way across this Monday. Right now, a feature track satellite radar. We are looking at some hazy sunshine. Broader view of that. We're also looking at high pressure that's moving out of the east. Behind it, a couple of disturbances will be moving in from the northwest, bringing us chances of thunderstorms, some of those perhaps this evening, and another chance maybe later tomorrow. In the meantime, air quality alert, not for Minnesota or Iowa, but just across the river, big portion of almost all of Wisconsin dealing with more of that smoke. Here's a look at computer modeling of that smoke, surface smoke happening across Wisconsin. So they're in the orange and in some cases red level in air quality index. So that's unhealthy for sensitive groups. We are moderate and likely to see some gradual improvement actually as more of that warm humid air builds in from the south and west, changing the overall flow in the pattern to something a little more favorable, at least in air quality, but definitely a hotter outlook for us for those temperatures. 81 in Rochester now, 85 in St. Cloud. A little cooler was the haze is thicker. It's 75 right now with clouds in Wausau, 77 in Green Bay, 87 in Sioux Falls to our west, though. That's the type of heat we're talking about here by the end of today. 81 right now in Rochester, Albert Lee 82. And it's 81 in Decorah, so seasonably warm. In fact, we're already a degree warmer than the average high temperature. We still have an afternoon of some sunshine, that light south wind, and all that humidity dew point well into the 60s, and that's where it's going to be most this week. Hot and humid for the middle part of the week, especially Wednesday and Thursday. Those will be the 2 hottest days of the week with stray thunderstorm chances. A handful this evening, slightly better chance tomorrow, and then on Friday, maybe the best chance overall as a cold front moves in. It may bring something a little, at least more widespread, at least to parts of the area for the tail end of the work week. But right now, hazy, warm sunshine, a gentle south breeze. Here comes some of those thunderstorms, some of those from Rochester to the north and east. There's a little wave of energy that's going to move through Wisconsin. We'll give a glancing blow in the southern periphery of that. So look for maybe some thunderstorms. Small chance that maybe some of those will become strong. We'll keep an eye on that. Some hail, another round of that is a possibility for our area. And then late tomorrow, once again, hazy sunshine, then some stray thunderstorms in the evening and overnight hours, hanging on even into the wee hours of Wednesday morning. So promising prospect there of some rain chances. Sparse rain chances this evening after 8 until about 1 a.m. though. So just a glancing blow, and you see the counties that are looking at the possibility of rain. Also looking at severe weather risk for the Storm Prediction Center, level 1 out of 5 with maybe some hail and some gusty winds. Rain chances this evening and tomorrow evening. Then again on Friday, slightly better chance for more of those scattered storms, maybe even a couple of rounds of storms from late Thursday night into Friday night and the hours in between. Today, some sunshine. Then the evening, there's offer a chance of some scattered thunderstorms, especially from Rochester to the north. 88 in Red Wing, Rochester 87. And 86 in Mason City. And the next few days look very warm, but then next week does look more seasonable. So we go right back to reality, back to normal anyway. Low and mid 80s, pretty common from the weekend and the days that follow. So some evening storms. 87 today, a lot of sunshine. There are those rain chances, then drying out after about 1 a.m. 63 tonight. And tomorrow, a lot of sunshine, some haze, and 89, a chance of evening thunderstorms once again after about 7 or 8 o'clock. And we'll have the rain chances again on Friday and maybe early next week as well. But kind of an improvement in those temperatures for the weekend. So if you're scorching in the heat, if you're not happy with that heat, it won't be here for very long at least. This isn't Texas or Arizona, thankfully. Ted's Trivia, what is the national animal of Canada? Of course, we talk about Canadian smoke. Why not talk about Canadian animals? I'm going to go with moose, a moose. It seems like it would be the moose. It's actually the beaver. Beavers on some of the coins.
That is what I said at first.
They have loons on some of their coins. They have beavers on some of their coins, but is the beaver.
I think I should get it right because I said beaver at first. Remember, I was like, it's beaver, and I was like, no, it's not, but it is.
It is a beaver.
Then I changed my answer. Okay, well, I'm just going to say I'm right.
Okay, it is fine. We're not keeping score.
Sure, all right. All right, thank you, Ted. Well, up next, it's Bye Bye Birdie for Twitter. The platform is unveiling a new logo. We check it out next.
Join us for Midwest Access, weekdays at 4 p.m. on
Welcome back. Twitter owner Elon Musk says the app's logo will soon be switched from a bird to an X. This weekend, Musk posted a short video of a flickering X. The shift from the bird imagery to that of a capital letter will be the last big change since he bought Twitter for $44 billion last year. Musk tweeted that the idea of changing the logo is, quote, to embody the imperfections in all of us that make us unique. Actor and musician Jamie Foxx is speaking out for the first time since he was hospitalized for an undisclosed medical condition in April. In a video posted on Instagram, Foxx talks about the speculation as to what led to his hospitalization. However, he did not reveal the cause, saying he didn't want his fans to see him like that. He did say he appreciates all the love he has received. Foxx also credited his daughter and sister, as well as medical staff, for saving his life. Streaming your favorite music on Spotify may soon cost you more. According to a Wall Street Journal report, the company is expected to raise the price of its ad-free premium monthly plan in the U.S. by $1. Currently costs $9.99 per month. The Journal, which cites anonymous sources, claims the announcement is expected to come next week. The report also states the company could increase prices in other markets in the coming months. This would be for the first time the first increase for its premium subscription plan since Spotify launched in 2011. And a new unpublished study presented today shows that adding certain healthy habits could help you live longer. Authors of the study looked at health and wellness behaviors of nearly 720,000 U.S. military veterans between the ages of 40 and 99. The authors found that incorporating 8 specific lifestyle habits by 40 could increase your life by 24 years. Those healthy habits include exercise, eating a healthy diet, reducing stress, sleeping well, and fostering positive social relationships. On the flip side, they didn't smoke, drink too much, or become addicted to opioids. If you're already older than 40, it's not too late for you to adopt the habits. The study found that if you start at 50, you could still prolong your life by up to 21 years. And if you start at 60, you could add 18 years to your life. Good information there. We'll be right back.
Japanese beetles, if you want them off your...
Well, Key West celebrated its own version of running of the bulls, and it's much tamer than what they do in Spain. Every year in Key West, men resembling Ernest Hemingway parade through the streets with life-size replicas of bulls on wheels. The event is part of Hemingway Day celebration, which honors the author who lived in the Key West in the 1930s. This past weekend, one of the bearded men was chosen as the winner of the Hemingway Look-alike contest, and Hemingway wrote some of his most enduring classics while living in Key West, including For Whom the Bell Tolls. Well, there you have it, Ted. I think we should have a running of the Ted Schmitz.
Okay.
You dress in a suit and then maybe
Just
have
like
a
me.
beard. Yeah.
Well, you remember a few years ago we had that No Shave November. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that version. We're gonna have that version of Ted.
Oh my goodness,
the Ted
yeah.
Schmitz,
Oh.
so.
Good
Anyway.
old days.
Yeah.
Weather is today a little warm for a beard.
Yes.
A little toasty. Have to live for a high of 87 today. Looking at the 7-day forecast, tomorrow close to 90, a chance of thunderstorms this evening and tomorrow night. Highs in the 90s Wednesday and Thursday.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of your day.
For over 20